Succession basically is the legal process under which the estate of a deceased person is administered and or executed to its rightful heirs and or beneficiaries. Yes, I think that's the simplest way to put it. Yes.
Maybe you could tell us what is the law that governs succession in this country?
We call it the law of succession. It's actually pretty direct,
The law of
it's
succession.
So it's the law of succession. It's cap 160 of the laws of Kenya.
Cap 160 of the laws of Kenya.
Yes.
And this would give the rules by which
this process is to be undertaken.
Okay.
Yes.
And then I know there's a whole bunch of terms before we really get into the conversation that require definition, because we will be talking and then people will be thinking, these guys are just talking to themselves because they are mentioning words that maybe some of us might not understand. And some of those words are common words that will come across when people are dealing with the property of somebody that has since passed on. And so maybe, Monica, you could start by helping us first of all describe, and I have a series of words I wrote. Okay. And I'm going to ask you about them. Two of them, and I'm going to ask these two together because I think they are correlated.
All right.
Is the word testate and the word intestate. Okay,
so there are two types of succession. There is the testate succession and intestate. Testate means the deceased person or the person who died leaving behind them a will on how their property and estate and all assets are to be disposed after their death. So that is what we call testate succession. So in this particular case, everything is outlined by what he wanted when he was alive.
So there are no gray areas.
There are no gray areas. Okay. So what you do is you have a will in place that is duly executed by the deceased person when they were alive. So you present this to court. You can, even having a will, you cannot directly start distributing his property. No, the court has to affirm that will, right? Okay. So you present this will in court. That is what we call now testate succession, as opposed to intestate succession, where the deceased person did not leave a will in place. Okay. So in which case the court needs to identify the rightful heirs and beneficiaries of this particular property or estate.
And that has to go through a process.
Yes.
More words. And again, I'm going to ask these in pairs because I believe they're also correlated. There is the word administrators and there is the word executors. Yes. So
these people, both the people, are the people who are given the responsibility of administering or executing the estate of the deceased person. So like I'm saying, when I say executing, it means executing a document. So a will. So
in this case, the word executors refers to a scenario where the deceased person left a will.
Yes, and then the deceased person would have identified people whom he has trusted, with these conditions in the will. Yeah. They will make sure that whatever he has written, his final will has been, is followed rather. Like what he has put down is what is done. People will make sure that his final wishes come true. Yes. So they will be executing the will. When it comes to now administrators, these people are appointed by courts to ensure that how the court has ruled that that property or that estate should be distributed is what happens practically. So administrators are appointed by court, executors are appointed by the deceased person in their will. Yes.
And then there are a couple of other legal jargon that we want to get out of the way because I think we'll be using them a lot in this conversation. And again, I'm going to pair them because I believe they are correlated. There is the grant of probate and there is the certificate of grant of probate, if I'm not wrong.
Yes. So it still comes back to our two types of succession. So the grant of probate is what you get in testate succession. That is when the will when the court has, the court has a will to follow through. So when they're confirming that this is how the estate should be distributed, they give you a grant of probate to, number one, confirm that this is how the estate should be distributed. And number two, these people who are put in the grant are the executors of that particular estate in accordance with the will.